So, darling, you know that I love our Twitter followers.
Yes.
Okay.
You're a bit addicted.
Oh, okay. Another time, another podcast. Regardless, the one thing I hate about Twitter is if you ask an open-ended question, you get an open-ended answer.
What open-ended question did you ask?
Well, so we started a YouTube channel for a podcast. Full disclosure, we've had a YouTube channel, but it's gotten 0 views on every video. So we decided to try something new. So we asked Twitter what type of video we should do to relate to our Retirement Sorry podcast, which was last Wednesday. If you haven't listened to it, please do. But so we asked them, and, well, they answered us in the worst possible ways.
You say worst possible way. You had a really different idea to talk about if they had not chosen the one that they had chosen.
Yeah, so my idea was to have a video where we looked at really crazy sex toys for Sally, because clearly if she's not getting it from the guy, she needs to get it somewhere. So I thought it would be fun, and we could look at crazy things on the internet and all of that. That's not how it turned out.
How did it turn out?
So the internet wanted us to do the fake orgasm scene. So we decided that begrudgingly we had to give the people what they wanted, since they did pull the Attica card. Thank you, Dial-In for Movie Podcast. And we made a game out of it. We played marbles, and one of us, the loser, had to do a fake orgasm on camera. So if you want to check that out, it is on YouTube. We put it up yesterday. Our YouTube channel is CinematicallyCorrect, just like this. So check it out. Currently it only has 25 views, thank God. So
please go watch the video. I think it's criminal that this video only has 25 views. It was very tastefully edited. Not by me, by Shay.
Okay. So hopefully next week's video will be less embarrassing, or more embarrassing on your end and not mine. So what movie did we do this week?
This week we did Secret Life of Walter Mitty, which is a movie directed and starred in by Ben Stiller. I love this movie. It's one of my favorite new releases that are...
New release? It's in 2013.
Well, it's within the last decade, so it's fairly new.
The things
right.
that old people say.
Great, thanks for that.
You're welcome.
So it's just a nice lighthearted movie that anyone can watch. I think it's PG, so there's no...
I have no idea what it was rated, actually. I didn't look that up, but it's got to be pretty
mild. I mean, there's no real violence or swearing or nudity.
Right. So, brief synopsis?
It's about Walter Mitty, who is a single guy that lives on his own, working for Life magazine. He doesn't really do anything with his life, and he spends a lot of it daydreaming about what he could be doing. And then he has to go on an adventure to find the photograph that he misplaced, or the negative that he misplaced, for the last cover of Life. And so it's all about him going around the world, traveling, trying to find this picture. And he stops daydreaming because he's actually living his life and he's enjoying things, and he doesn't have to dream about it anymore, essentially. Makes
sense. Before we talk about it, can I just say, how did I not know that Life magazine is no longer making magazines?
I don't know.
I don't know. I just assumed they still were, because they were for so long, and they were awesome.
Right. They started again, and then stopped. It was weird when I was looking at it, where they had this weird. They went from monthly to not monthly, and then back, and then.
I think they really tried, but their photos were amazing.
Fantastic photos. Some of the best photos ever. That Life, National Geographic, they're just known for photos. It was fantastic.
Right, I'm surprised that they don't exist now with hipsters who are so in love with.
I don't have an answer. I don't think we introduced the podcast. I'm Tyler.
I'm Shay.
And this is Cinematically Correct. Back to the movie. Starts with him in his apartment, and he's bouncing his checkbook. And
who does that anymore?
Well, we still balance a checkbook. It's just digital instead of...
We don't do it on paper.
No one writes it down. You'd have to be a monster to write down in a checkbook.
That's what you said when you were watching the movie. I like how you change your narrative for a podcast.
How did I change my narrative? What did I say?
You said people balance their checkbook. You were so flabbergasted when I said people don't.
Old people do.
It's not what you said, but sure, let's change the narrative.
All right, and then he leaves his apartment to go to work. His apartment looked like a jail cell that you had brought up. when we were watching the movie.
Yeah, there just was no color, no nothing. It was just boring and bland. But I mean, it's basically how you would live if I weren't around. So I mean,
wow.
I guess
Thanks.
it's the life of a boring person.
Whoa. Hold on. No. What? Hold on.
What? You said before we started watching this movie that I probably wouldn't like it because the guy would probably remind me of you.
Yes, I daydream. And yes, I may have a gray couch. But
you may have a gray couch. You have a gray couch you're so attached to that even if we move cross country like we want to do, you're making us take that and throw out all the rest of our furniture.
The rest of the furniture is free furniture. I spent good money on that couch.
It's crap.
I like it.
It's not even comfortable.
We've had this argument on like 6 podcasts now.
I just don't understand. But anyway, so you like extremely boring things, and he's a negative asset manager, which I thought was a boring finance job before I realized that he worked for Life magazine. So, I mean, the similarities are uncanny.
Well, he also zones out from time to time and daydreams.
He takes zoning out to a new level. He zones out to the point where he can't even hear you when you're talking.
Well, yeah. Who doesn't zone out like that occasionally?
Me.
What? How?
I daydream, but I can still hear you and respond to you. I'm just having another whole thing going on in my head while I'm having a conversation with you.
No, I have a completely separate thing that tones everything, like gets rid of everything in the background.
Right, I forgot you can't multitask.
So, no, it's just you have daydreams and you're in the moment and you're not paying attention to the world around you sometimes.
That means that you're depressed with your life and you hate it and you need to like create like another narrative?
No.
You should watch the Stranger Than Fiction or whatever it is called with Will Ferrell.
What's
You'd
that?
like it.
Stranger Than Fiction?
I think it's what it's called. Will Ferrell movie about an author.
Oh, well, he has his own life narrated to him?
Yeah.
Oh, I have not seen that. I've heard about it.
You'd like it, clearly.
I would like it clearly. Okay. So, he loses a picture. And then he goes to Greenland, which is actually not Greenland.
He loses a negative. Let's be appropriate to the movie.
And he goes to Greenland, which is apparently not Greenland. It's Iceland. The whole movie was basically filmed in Iceland. And even
Well, he goes to both, to be clear.
Right. But at no point did he actually go to Iceland for shooting. Or
No, at no point did he actually go to Greenland for shooting.
Yes. So, no point did he go to Greenland, which apparently has 8 people.
According to the movie, but you found out the real population.
Yes. So I did look at the capital of Greenland, Nuuk, I guess that's how you pronounce it. It has 17,000 people, which is not a lot of people.
Okay, to put it in perspective, how many people are in Boston?
Boston has just Boston 673,184.
And that's just the city itself,
That's just the city itself. And then the outlying towns, I think, all told, it's something like 4 million.
So, in perspective, 8 people.
Yes.
I thought that it was interesting that they only actually showed 8 different people in those scenes.
They did, actually. I mean, it was weird. I didn't really pick up on that until afterwards when I was doing the research. But now that I think about it, there was like 8 people.
Well, they say it on one of the trivia sites. I thought that was kind of cool.
Yes. I gotta say, when he was there, I love the homage to the Matrix. The
red pill, blue pill?
The red pill, blue pill, red car, blue car. The blue car, if he took the blue car, he wakes up back in his life. Red car, he goes down the rabbit hole, which was fantastic.
Yeah, that was a good reference. One thing that you glossed over by a lot, which I don't understand, is at the beginning of the movie, he is shown on eHarmony, and Kristen Wiig is the love interest for this movie, and she's on eHarmony, and apparently he created a eHarmony profile to specifically target her, but she works in his building, and he actually sees her within, like, feet
Why
of
would
him.
you say target? That sounds really creepy.
Because it is really creepy. You do not create a dating profile to talk to somebody who you literally can walk 10 feet and talk to. That's creepy.
He's trying to come up with his own narrative for how they meet and that whole thing.
He's trying to do the Pina Colada song, which I really didn't get that reference. I know the song, but I don't get the reference.
Well, he wants to meet her online and have that weird, we work in the office but we met online type story.
But they didn't meet online. He targeted her.
Well, yeah, but they did wind up meeting in person rather than online, even though he's been trying to click that stupid wink button for however long.
Right, but the whole concept was creepy on so many levels. It was just weird, and I mean, I don't know, like...
That would be evidence used against him at the court trial?
Yeah, he created an eHarmony profile for me. He talked to a specific person and told them that he was targeting me, so...
Patton Oswalt, who is awesome.
Right, I mean, it's so many creepy things about that, but regardless, eHarmony became a big part of it, so I think that's why he did it, but...
Yes, eHarmony became a big part of it. He doesn't have enough stuff on his profile to actually use the profile, I guess, to start the movie, because he doesn't even have a picture up, for God's sakes.
Right.
So there's no picture, no been anywhere. It's basically a blank profile.
What your life would have been before you met me. Facts. All things are facts.
So he goes to Greenland, which is really Iceland. He gets in a helicopter, which I would not get in that helicopter. Are you kidding me?
Why?
The pilot is hammered.
Okay, so this was the whole debate you were trying to have. What's worse, drunk driving or drunk flying?
I still don't know. I'm torn. I think it's drunk flying.
See, I don't know. I think drunk driving is worse because there's more obstacles. You're going to run into more things. There's trees. There's other people. There's other cars. There's potholes. There's bends in the road. There's all these things. We're up in the air. You could run into somebody. The odds are a lot lower, especially in Greenland. And yeah, you have a lot farther to fall, but...
Well, I don't know, because yes, there are more things that you can hit in driving, including other people, but at the same time, you can go slow, drunk driving, versus in a helicopter, you're falling out of the sky. I'm
sorry, I've never drunk driven before, but if you drunk drive, I don't think you're literally thinking to yourself, oh, I'm so drunk, I should probably go real slow.
Well,
the only time I've ever seen a drunk driver drive slow is when they drive 5 miles an hour on the highway and they're going to get themselves killed.
Oh, yeah, I've never done either.
You've never seen that?
No, I've never drunk drove or drunk flown. So I've
never flown, period. Full stop.
Me neither. Yeah, full stop. So drunk or otherwise. But I don't know. I don't have an answer because we're going to have to get the internet to answer this. What is worse, drunk driving or drunk flying?
And why? Because I want reasons. Because I can't work it out in my head.
I can see both sides to this argument, and I just can't.
I feel like Mythbusters needs to do a beer goggle thing and figure out what's worse.
I don't know how they would do that and not get...
Well, they have to do a roadway that has man-made obstacles or whatever, a track that's blocked off with beer goggles. And then same thing with flying, blocked off and a crappy, not needed jet or something. They have the money to throw it away, right?
Yeah, I'm not worried about the crappy helicopter. I'm worried about the person that has to fly it while drunk.
Well, I'm sure that they would put him in gear and things like that.
It's still falling out of the sky, darling. I don't know.
Well, I'm pretty sure they wouldn't let him go too high. But anyway, we'll have to buy beer goggles and see what it's like.
I guess. Do they sell beer goggles? Why don't we just have a few beers?
Have we met?
Fair.
Anyways, moving forward.
So he goes out into the middle of the ocean with the helicopter pilot, and he jumps out of the ocean, or jumps into the ocean, and he missed the boat, quite literally, because he jumped towards the wrong boat.
Okay, before you're skipping so many things in this movie.
What am I skipping?
So you missed the whole skateboarding narrative in this movie, which is important for what you're about to get to, so kind of...
Yes, he was a skateboarder in his youth.
So he talked to Kristen Wiig's son and kind of bonded with him over skateboarding. You find out that in his past, he was really into the skateboarding scene. He had a mohawk, he had all this stuff, and then his father died and he ended up becoming more straight-laced, worked at Papa John's, and there's just bad memories from that.
Well, he just had to, when his dad died when he was 17, he had to be the man of the family and go get a job and take care of his mom and his sister.
Right, but that part of the movie is kind of shows his turning point. He did used to have a fulfilling life that he was happy with and whatever.
Right.
But his dad died. And he relates Papa John's as the kind of what shifted him, what turned him into this person who's straight-laced and had to do everything right and had to be the man of the family, help support his mom, which he's still doing.
Right.
So, I mean, that's kind of super important to what you're about to get to, so maybe not skipping important parts of the movie would be good.
What am I going to get to now? The whole skateboarding to the volcano?
Yep.
Well, he has to get off the boat and...
You also skipped the Papa John's in Iceland.
That's not in Iceland.
It was a bakery called...
You're not going to pronounce that
Gira
name.
Bakari, and they're known for their chocolate-covered cinnamon buns, just, in case we ever want to go to Iceland, because we're supposed to, and we never went, so...
Yes. One of us doesn't have a passport.
Whose fault is that?
I have a passport, so what do you mean, whose fault is that?
You lost things of mine multiple times as we try to do this.
Oh my god.
Multiple times.
If it wasn't for me, you wouldn't even have any of the things that you would need to get a passport.
Oh, okay.
We're in the final stretch. You just have to go and do it.
Uh-huh. Yeah, so simple. So anyways, chocolate-covered cinnamon buns, which is funny because Cinnabons kind of makes quite an appearance in here.
Well, it does later on in the movie. I like the fact that he has to beat the horny Chileans off the boat to the bike because the horny Chileans want to go to the strip club. Mm-hmm. But there's no strip clubs in Iceland. They were banned. Which
is amazing. Like, go Iceland. Like,
I mean, I don't have a problem with one or the other. I mean, I don't go to strip clubs, but I mean...
Well, I think it's a good thing for the country and a good thing for women, but regardless, moving forward, so now you can go back to he missed the boat since we've gotten the background in.
Okay, so he missed getting in the boat. He's in the North Atlantic, freezing his ass off, and he's getting rescued, and one of the guys says, "Oh, that's just a porpoise. And it's not a porpoise, it's a shark. He gets in the boat, they go to Iceland, and then he starts skateboarding to a volcano.
Okay, no, he doesn't just start skateboarding, he has to haggle for a skateboard.
Yeah, he gives his Stretch Armstrong away, right? Mm-hmm. For the skateboard? Mm-hmm. And
it's not a skateboard for him, he uses it, but it's a skateboard for Kristen Wiig's son.
Yeah, it's a nice gift. That kid is not good at trading. Can we just say that? Like,
you said, see, you're changing your narrative. No, I said that, and you said...
Stretch Armstrong is a collectible, but that skateboard was awesome.
That's not what you said during the movie. I said, that's a crappy deal, and you were like, no, it's a collectible, babe. That's a good deal. What are you talking about?
It's a better deal than you thought it is.
Oh, my God.
You gotta let it go.
Lie for the podcast. Why? Because you don't want to look dumb and you don't want people to not like your opinions? Too late.
Not too late.
Oh my God.
I can turn it around.
This is like the whole movie. Everything I say, you're like writing it down. Like it's your opinions and thoughts.
Well, you don't write them down.
But you use them as your own.
That's fine.
Hoping I'll forget, which I don't. I don't forget anything.
Ever. Under any circumstances.
Oh, God, it's so irritating.
I mean, so he gets an awesome skateboard.
Yep.
For trading a Stretch Armstrong, which is also awesome. Mm-hmm. I mean, I used to have one of the not a Stretch Armstrong, but I had one of the stretchy toys back in the day.
There's other things other than Stretch Armstrong?
I think so. I mean, I had something that I don't think was a Stretch Armstrong, because that was a toy from like the 70s, I think.
Well, now I'm going to have to Google this, so thanks a lot. I always needed more things to Google.
So he skateboards to the volcano that neither of us can pronounce.
Not gonna try. No, I'm good on that.
No, never. He gets there, and he sees the guy he's tracking that might have the negative on him, the photographer.
Sean Connery?
Sean O'Connell. Sean Connery is not the same person.
I keep doing it.
That's the 4th or 5th time.
Because I'm pretty sure you mentioned Sean Connery at some point.
I did not mention Sean Connery. I have never mentioned Sean Connery for this movie.
He's been in my head the whole movie, so...
Yes, because it's Sean O'Connell, played by Sean Penn, which is not Sean Connery. Sean Connery is James Bond.
I don't know. It's in my head. Okay. Anyways, moving on. So he finds him on a mountain or something. Is it on the volcano or near the volcano?
No, he's on the airplane shooting the volcano blowing up.
Right.
And then he gets picked up by some random Icelandic person to get out of the volcano eruption
area. It's not really random. He had run into him earlier, asked where he was going. Guy told him not to go, and the guy was like, no, I'm fine. I know the guy. because he's an idiot and doesn't understand what the guy was saying.
And then then they talk about he gets the travel list and all that stuff, and he has to follow Sean O'Connell even further. So he's made it to Iceland, made it to Greenland, Iceland. He actually goes back to his job and gets fired for a period in there for some reason.
Maybe for some reason everyone's getting laid off because life is going online, so they lay off like everybody.
Yeah.
So not for some reason.
Well, he gets fired outside of the bill. Like, they don't even...
Well, because they were waiting for him to develop the negative that he lost, and when they found out he lost it, they just fired him.
Yeah, it's still not nice to do it on the street instead of...
Well, it's also not nice of him to hide the fact that he lost the negative. That's pretty...
Well, he didn't lose the negative. Like, it's this
whole big thing. Well, he did kind of lose it. He kind of threw it in the trash, if we're going to be serious about it.
And I wanted to talk on that. So we're getting way ahead of ourselves, but I'll get to that in a minute. So he goes to his mom's, and she tells him that, oh, Sean Connell was here, taking pictures, asking about you, blah, blah, blah. And he asks her, what the hell, why didn't she tell him? And she did. He just was zoned out and apparently not paying attention at the time.
Story of my life.
Hey, be nice. And then, so he has to go to ungoverned Afghanistan.
Okay, stop. You're very bad at explaining movies that you like because you want to talk about things and you don't explain. So in that scene where he's talking to his mom, he had just gotten let go from work, so he realized that he's no longer going to be able to pay for the loft or condo or whatever they call it.
For the piano, which
that he had just gotten for his mom, because obviously he's the one paying the bills because she's retired and the sister is an actress and not getting steady income. So he realizes that, he gets very upset with himself. He takes the wallet that Sean O'Connell gave to him, which is beautiful, gorgeous inscription, and he throws it in the trash because he doesn't want a reminder of the life that he had because he's just so depressed and upset.
Right.
Now you can go forward because those are important pieces of the puzzle that you kind of need.
So he talks to his mom. He goes to ungoverned Afghanistan, and no, don't ever go to ungoverned Afghanistan because that sounds terrifying. Like, by way of Yemen, no thank you. I choose life. I'm sorry. I mean, I'm sure there's a wonderful area, but no, I'm not going to Yemen or Afghanistan.
Anyways.
He hikes through the mountains by himself, and he stumbles upon the photographer in the middle of nowhere. How did that happen, other than being a movie?
It had to happen. The movie was already 2 hours long, so they had to just cut to the chase.
So he catches him instead of chasing him, and they talk about it, and it turns out the negative was in the wallet that he mailed to him for the whole movie. That he threw out, yes. So it's the wallet that he's had this whole way. So it's the picture that's been in his pocket. I like that as a metaphor for he was the same person. He just hid it away from himself for a while. So he's always been this adventurous person. He just has been hiding it away for the whole movie. So he gets the picture, goes back, they publish it, and that's basically the movie. And he winds up dating Kristen Wiig at the end somehow.
He doesn't wind up dating Kristen Wiig. He just ends up asking her on a date, but you missed the entire relationship between them because apparently the love story didn't matter to you in this movie. So.
It was a fine love story. You thought it was creepy.
It was creepy. The whole thing was creepy. She said right at the beginning of the movie that she was kind of ish back with her ex. They were working on it, and he still continued to pursue her. Then he went to her house to give her the skateboard, and the guy answered and called her honey, and he ran away like a child and put the skateboard to the side for the kid.
But what was he supposed to do? Just say, hey,
actually
here's a skateboard?
talk to her since he knocked on the door and asked for her? You don't run down the street.
He didn't run. They just walked away.
No, he did. And then he started acting real weird with her. And then when he finally finds out that they're actually not back together, he's like, oh, cool. You want to get on a date? And I'll hold your hand immediately. As if we've been dating this whole time.
He asked her to his sister's performance, which sounds horrible. I don't want to go to see an amateur production of Grease, if I'm going to be honest.
Well, that's snobby as hell.
So that's basically the movie in a nutshell, even though I made a hash of explaining it. It's been a bit of a process.
A bit?
Yeah, just a slight bit. And
It's like trying to herd cattle.
It's like trying to herd cats, I believe is the expression.
I don't know. All I know is it's
hard, difficult.
Frustrating.
So that's the summary. I like that's a remake of a short story. So it's a remake of a movie based on a short story that was in the New Yorker.
James Thurber, I believe his name was.
I don't know who it was by. I just know that it was in the New Yorker originally in like the 30s.
Yeah, I believe it was James Thurber.
And
but did you read this short story?
I did not. I tried pulling it up. You read it.
Well, I think I read it. There felt like there were pieces missing, but it could just be that it was choppy. But it was on like full reader or something like that. But it basically seemed like it was a guy who was super like controlled by his wife. Like she was like, they were in the car going to the grocery store and she was just yelling at him. And so he like went off on a daydream about being somewhere else. And then he had to like go get like dog food or something. It was like some certain brand or whatever. And he didn't want to or something. It was boring errand. So he went off and like something else in his head. And then she came back and yelled at him and said, you probably forgot to get the stupid brand because you always forget. And it was like, it just seemed like he like went off in another world because his wife was like really mean. It was just very like
doing anything he can to get away from his awful wife.
That's what it seemed like.
Really?
Like, you're gonna have to read it. Like, I mean, I get obviously that wasn't the point, but that's what it seemed like. And I was like, okay, well, I mean, I would go off in another world too. She was just really mean and nasty all of the time. But
and then I don't know anything about the original movie that was based on the short story?
All I know is that it was supposedly a musical comedy, according to Ben Stiller in an interview about this movie.
Really? Well, we might have to add that to the list because I kind of want to see it now because I love this movie.
Oh, so you like musical comedies as long as they're not amateurish?
No, I just... God damn it. So, I like this movie, and I am kind of interested to see the original adaptation.
Now, would you have liked this movie if the people who were originally considered for the role?
Oh, no. I think it would have been an awful movie.
So, I mean, the one that stuck out to me that I thought would have made the movie entirely different was Jim Carrey. Now, there was a ton of people that were considered for the role. I'm not going to list them all because this movie went through a lot of gyrations. It took a long time to actually get written and find a director and find a lead and all of that. But
right.
Jim Carrey was the one that really stuck out to me because, one, the original screenplay, I believe it was written specifically for him.
Right.
But I just feel like it would have been much more of a comedy rather than like a life journey type movie.
Well, I mean, Jim Carrey, of the choices, is probably the second best candidate for this movie.
And Ben Stiller being first guest.
I would think Ben Stiller was the right choice for this character, just on the direction that they went with the movie in terms of the life journey with the funny elements, but then also the serious aspect of it.
Mm-hmm.
Jim Carrey has that ability to be a serious and comedic guy. The other characters did not. They're just straight. Other people considered were just funny people that would have tanked this movie.
Right. Well, I guess I couldn't picture Jim Carrey in the role, but I thought it was funny that Ben Stiller actually had directed Jim Carrey previously in The Cable Guy, and then he beat him out for this role.
Well, that is interesting. There was Mike Myers, Sacha Baron Cohen. There's a lot of other people that were.
Yeah, and Owen Wilson dropped out of this movie for creative differences, and I couldn't get a clear read of if he was supposed to be a title character or if he was supposed to be with Ben Stiller, because they are together in a lot of movies, so I wasn't quite clear on that.
I don't have an answer. It's for me, Ben Stiller nailed this in terms of directing, in terms of acting in it. Like, it was well done on his part.
Yeah, I mean, the cinematography was great, but anyway, I mean, this movie...
I mean, a lot of the shots were gorgeous and just well paired with the musical choices. I mean, they play Major Tom throughout this movie, which is not actually Major Tom. It's a different title. I think it's Space Oddity is the name of the song. Everyone calls it Major Tom because that's the key line.
Right.
Finally, before I forget, you have this weird ability to just disappear into the internet, to like the dark corners of the internet. Or not dark corners, but just like the deep holes and places that people don't go. And you find things that I would never find. So you found something that I'd never heard of.
I like to know about controversies surrounding movies because I find that fun. And there was a controversy surrounding this movie, other than the whole like getting it started, because that was a nightmare to begin with. But apparently, there was a cartoon that came out in, I think it was like the 70s or something, called The Secret Life of Waldo Kitty. It's like live action and cartoon. It's like together. And the author of this short story, James Thurber, I think, his wife actually sued the company for not having the rights to the movie or to the name. And they had to change their name to The New Adventures of Waldo Kitty, which is very confusing to me because, so you just changed the name and it's supposed to make it better, but like, how many shows do you know with the name The New Adventures of insert title character here?
A lot.
Yeah, like New Adventures of Old Christine comes up as like one I can think of. So how is that not copyright infringement if...
Well, because it's not the same concept. It's a similar title, but you can't copyright The New Adventures.
Well, right, but the cartoon didn't change their content.
No,
they changed their title. So how did that help the copyright infringement? I was just confused.
It doesn't really. It's really just a Band-Aid over the top. It doesn't change any of what they did or did not do.
Right. Now, I know that this movie was able to be made because of that whole law thing that, like, after a certain amount of years, like, things, like, become free use.
Well, I was under the impression that they had... The people that did the original movie, the one in 1947, they were involved in this movie being remade.
I think, though, that was with Paramount. When they were with Paramount. And then Paramount lost their rights because it took too long. And then Fox took over.
Right, but it was like Sam Goldwyn or something. Like there's some production company that was involved in the first one, and I guess the son took over his father's company and was trying to push for this movie to be remade because it was one of his father's movies. Right,
but I don't think he was involved in this particular. I think it was in the beginning gyrations.
No, they listed the credits in there.
Oh, did they? Because when I was reading about it, it seemed like Paramount lost the rights to the movie, and then Fox picked it up, and it no longer, because it doesn't even really follow the story, like, at all.
So I don't know. It was a bit of an odd movie all the way around, really.
Yeah. But anyway, what do you rate the movie?
I would rate this an 8.5.
That's a high rating for a movie that got a 51% on Rotten Tomatoes.
70% audience score, actually.
Yeah, I see the 7% audience score, but it's still got a 51% on Rotten Tomatoes.
A garbage rating, if we're going to be honest. That is just, people don't understand this movie.
To each their own. I guess I would rate it like a 7.
Okay, well, it's still better than the 51 that you just threw out there.
No, I just wanted to make sure that people knew like what they were getting into. So before we end, we do need to do at least 1 or 2 audience asked questions. So because you're a daydreamer, I guess I'll give you this one. From Flicks X-Ray, they said, what is one daydream that you play out in your mind all the time?
Just getting up and quitting my job.
That's not a daydream.
Daydream. Just going on an adventure. It doesn't have to be a specific. It's just like going out into the world and having an adventure.
That, ladies and gentlemen, is the example of somebody who's so boring that just going outside is a daydream for him.
That's not... Wow. Okay. What about you? What's the daydream that you have?
Living in California and being, like, podcast famous and not having to work and being able to just do what I love all the day, every day, and having multiple dogs and just, like, living my best life. Duh.
That's not a dream. That's your 5-year plan. That's not the same thing.
Well, when your 5-year plan is not attainable, it's a dream. Anyway, so the only other question I was going to give you was from Wendy Carroll, and she said, it has a distinctive visual style. Are there any obvious influences, not necessarily cinematic?
Influences in terms of, I guess
She just means influences in the movie. So, I mean, one we did mention was The Matrix, clearly.
Yes, that... There's a lot of gorgeous cinematography shots. I think that came the only other thing only other movie that I can think of that had that type of feel is Lord of the Rings, where they put basically the scenery on display. When it wasn't necessarily about what was going on, it was about the beautiful background.
That's true. One thing, this isn't a movie. I don't know if she said movie. No, she said obvious influences. So when I watched the Ben Stiller interview, he mentioned that on the scenes where they're shooting in New York City, they have like real life people there instead of just extras. Mm-hmm. And he was influenced to do that by The Odd Couple, like their opening sequence.
Okay.
So, I mean, he liked the idea of like having the hustle and bustle and like the real feel of it, because he said that if you just put extras in there, it people can read that and feel the fakeness of it. It
does. Well, we went on that movie bus tour, and it definitely has a different feel if you have extras, because it's New York City, or it's a city feel. It's a city feel without actual people.
Right.
Like, it's the best picture of a city. It's everyone should love to live in the city because there's no people and there's things to do and it's all fun.
Right.
And that type of thing. So it doesn't give a genuine picture of inner city. I can't move because there are so many people around. I want to kill everything and just die.
Right. Which
we both share. We both don't like cities.
Right. So, I mean, those are the only ones I can think of off the top of my head. I'm sure there are others, but, like, I'm not really good at, like, picking that kind of stuff up. I mean, I do think Stranger Than Fiction is very similar to this movie, but I don't know which one came out first, so I don't know if there's any kind of connection there.
Can I ask you a question?
I don't know. I probably not. Probably should say no.
When he's putting the photo negative on the table, why is it dry?
What do you mean?
Because he jumped in the ocean with it.
So you're jumping into a part of the movie that I can't even get to because my mind is not there. So
he, at the very end of the movie, one of the final scenes where he just drops it off, you don't have to be a jerk about firing everyone. People worked really hard, blah, blah, blah. Here's the quintessence of life.
Well, okay. Let's just be clear. He went from Greenland to New York. There's a lot of hours in between there.
Well, yeah, but it's not like waterlogged or like warped or looking like it's been in the ocean. Like there would be salt on it and it would just look... You know the look of paper?
I mean, I don't know. I guess continuing... I can't say it.
Issues. Continuity.
Thank you.
Issues.
Anyway, so I guess that's it for the movie. What are we doing next week?
Well, it's your choice, and you had chosen...
10 Things I Hate About You.
And do you want to tell people why?
Well...
We rejiggered this, and we refigured this whole schedule around changing this.
Right, because we found gobblies or gooblies, which are handheld paintballs. Which is amazing, and I can't believe they exist, and I can't believe I didn't know they exist. So we want to be able to do a video for that paintball scene, which is going to be amazing. So we rejigged everything so we could do that, make sure that it was in the summertime, because we do live in New England, so we are limited when we can do outdoor things. So we're down for that, but we do still need a movie or a video for this movie. So we're going to put up a poll on Twitter. It'll probably be up, I'm going to guess, Thursday or Friday. So go vote on that. I'm not going to make it open-ended because I learned. So go do that. I do want to give a thank you to Jake at Athos Music for our intro and outro music. And I look forward to doing 10 Things I Hate About You next week because it is one of my all-time favorite movies.
Yes, we've done 2 of your all-time favorite movies back-to-back for your choices. I'm sensing a pattern.
Such is life.
All right. Well, this has been Cinematically Correct. Again, I'm Tyler.
I'm Shay.
Thank you for listening.